How's everybody doing today? Whew, man, happy holidays and happy new year. Trying to get it rolling. Let's see. Give everybody a few minutes to come on in, see what's going on. See what's going on. Let's see. Hmm. Trying not to struggle stream in 2024. So let's see. Everything's going. Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me. Uh, so give it a few minutes for people can flow in. Trying to check on my LinkedIn. I seem to always be struggle streaming on LinkedIn. So let's see what we're doing. Sharon K, guys, you can join me. The one in the chat, you see it. NIST 800-53 insider threat. That's what we talking about. Casual economist, happy new year. I appreciate you. Check on my LinkedIn. Trying not to struggle too bad on LinkedIn. Trying to master this simultaneously streaming on two platforms. DBO's not doing well yet. He learning in my old age. You know how we do it. If you got any questions, put them in the chat. Okay, shout out to Beatrice McCarthy. She gave me a like on LinkedIn on it. Let's see if I can bring it up. We're going to get started. We ain't going to struggle stream too long. Going to make it happen. Okay, I see me over there. So I'm doing a little something. It's clicked in. I got 3 on LinkedIn. Man, I got to get better on my LinkedIn. Let's see what's going on. So let's see. I'm in there. Let's see. Happy New Year on LinkedIn. See what it comes back with. Once again, if you got any tech questions, any cybersecurity questions, you know how we do it. Okay, there's me. I can see me over there. So hopefully everybody's having a happy new year. I decided to start it off with a current event, which was the Facebook diversity leader stealing 4 million. So we about to look at this CNBC article. Then that's going to flow us into insider threat to figure out how we can catch these people. Can't be stealing 4 million. Miss KP Bailey, I appreciate you. Good evening and happy new year to you too. Let me go back and peek over here on my LinkedIn. So let's see. I got 2 people say we're going to join. Let's see if they make it. I got 3 people over there. So let's keep it rolling. Let's switch over to that CNBC DEI article. She's stealing, man. We can't be stealing in the new year, can we? What's going on? We're gonna hit this quick article. Then once again, we're gonna flow over into the NIST 800-53 insider threat. So let's hit it. Super short article. Once again, if you got any questions, tech or cybersecurity, just drop them in the box. We'll get to them. Former Facebook diversity strategist plead guilty to stealing more than $4 million from the company. A former Facebook global diversity strategist. Those are the bullet points. Once again, stole 4 million. Her name was Barbara Barlow Smiles, who led various Facebook diversity, equity, inclusion programs between 2017 and 2021. Stole the money through an elaborate scheme. I don't think it was that elaborate. We could touch on that. Matter the company Facebook is cooperating with the the investigation. Obviously, I think she's pled guilty. So let's read the article real quick. A former global diversity strategist at Facebook pleaded guilty to wire fraud after stealing more than 4 million from a social media giant to fund a lavish lifestyle in California and Georgia. The federal prosecutors said. How do you think you're gonna get away with stealing 4 million? I could understand if you're gonna steal 100,000, maybe $250,000. Come on, man. When you start dealing 4 million, you gotta know the outcome to that. I won't let me type in the chat. Uh-oh. Let me figure out what's going on, Miss TB. Let me figure out. Let me figure it. Let me figure. I'm going to check it out. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna figure that out in a minute. Once again, I'm struggle streaming on LinkedIn. Let's see what's up with this DEI lady stealing all the money. So let's keep going. And once again, we're gonna flow over to the insider threat insider inside NIST 800-53 to figure out how we could catch it, figure out how large companies should be implementing this, especially on the government side. I would think Facebook, such a large company, doing a lot of government bidding, a lot of government work, and has a lot of government investigation. I would thought they would have that program already, but we're gonna dig into it. Once again, Barbara, who led various Facebook equity inclusions from 2017 through mid 2021, stole the money through an elaborate scheme. The U.S. Attorney Office in Atlanta said in a statement, among other things, prosecutors said Furrow Smile 38 caused Meta subsidiary to pay people for goods and services that were never actually provided to the company, then had those individuals pay her kickbacks. So now she got herself and her friends in they're in a federal investigation, probably about to be slapped with some crimes and some restitution. The individuals, including friends, relatives from former interns from a prior job, nannies, babysitters, hairstylists, and her university tutor, the United States Attorney General said. When the United States Attorney General comes to get you, that's not a good thing. In some instances, Smiles had Facebook pay people who did not give her kicks back. In one case, directing $10,000 to an artist for a specialty portrait, more than $18,000 to a preschool for a tuition. How are you paying your preschool and think you're not gonna get caught, right? So that's crazy. So shout out to XL Pro in the house. Yeah, I see money and money fly. You need to put the jail sign up there, XL Pro. Put the little jail sign up there. If anyone in Ohio, make sure you apply to Ohio Tech Credit. You can get up to $2,000 for training and search. I appreciate that, Troy. I'll put that on my community tab and spread that to the community. Shout out to Troy Smith. I'll get that out to community. And once again, if you go to my community tab, I have I'll go to it after we do this session. I have remote internships, remote entry-level jobs. I have 2 or 3. I think I had one, Troy, from Ohio. I'm sorry, Chicago and another state. So I'll definitely add that to my community tab. But we'll go look at that in a minute. Shout out to there you go, XL Pro. Shout out. We going to jail without no bail. Let's keep going. Let's get put anything in the chat. My files are LinkedIn. I'm working on it and see what's going over there. I got to figure out why people can't. I got to figure out why they can't leave chats in LinkedIn. Still struggle streaming on LinkedIn. As part of the scheme, Ms. Smiles linked PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App accounts to her Facebook credit card. Used those accounts to pay friends, relatives, and other associates for goods, services purportedly provided to Facebook. Now that right there would be a red flag. And we're going to talk a little bit about AWS. They actually has a fraud module. In their fraud module, I think this would have popped up as suspicious. How you hooking your company credit card to PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, especially Cash App, right? So that should have been a red flag. Come on, Meta, Facebook, we gotta do better. Farrell Smiles, who has not Facebook top DEI executive, pleaded guilty in Atlanta federal court on Monday. United States Attorney Ryan Bouchan in a statement said Farrell Smiles had abused her position of trust at Facebook to deprive the companies of millions of dollars, ignoring the insidious consequences of undermining the importance of her DEI position. So that kind of worried me a little bit, right? Just because she's a crook, why does that have to put a issue over your diversity and inclusion mission. That mission and her insidious stealing should be separate, but we knew they were going to put those together though, so that's always a slight issue, but we can dig into that later. Meta's providing assistance and cooperation with the criminal investigation. Prosecutor said Furrow Smiles, who lives in Atlanta, is scheduled to be sentenced on March 19th. She is free on a $5,000 bond. A spokesman for Meta in a statement CNBC, we are cooperating with the law enforcement in case regarding this former program manager and will continue to do so. Lance Clark, a lawyer for Miles, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So once again, she out there stealing, right? Messing up the DEI mission. Got all the DEI programs looking bad. So I'm sure they can get a due process once again with the United States hitting you. You know it's gonna be some issue. Shout out to Josh. What's up, man? Hope you're having a good year. Once again, let me switch on over to the slides so we can get started. So everybody know I'm a NIST 800-53 GRC guy. So let's see what the NIST 800-53 has an insider threat program. So they're actually making a push for you to actually start drilling down into insider threats like her that's stealing stuff, selling corporate secrets, to Russia, China, Vietnam, all those dangerous places on the planet. So once again, this 800-53, which is federal requirements to do business with a federal agency. Once again, I used to do IRS. I used to work for the Department of Revenue of a very large state. We reported to the IRS. It's called IRS Pub 1075. They use NIST 800-53. So that's what my specialty in and what I believe I'm a SME in. So we about to get into it. Once again, you know how we do it. Put any questions in the chat. If you're on LinkedIn, you might want to come over to YouTube till I figure that out. I'm struggle streaming on LinkedIn. Let's peek over here and see if I can figure out what's going on over in LinkedIn. Shout out to Professor Roger White. Give me a like. I'm trying to figure it out. Thank you. I don't know if it's me or what. I don't know if it's me or you, TB. You can put your chat in the messages, and I'll read them out. I'll be checking that for you. We can make it work somehow, some way, TB. Just put it in the message. I see you in there. Then I can actually, once again, move them over. Let me get back to that. Then we can get it started. Trying to. There it is. I got 3 people on my LinkedIn. Once again, trying to figure it out. Once again, we about to get it back started. Once again, struggle streaming. Man, this LinkedIn is not getting along today. So we're going to keep it pushing. So let's get it going. And let's see. So once again, that's the NIST 800, NIST Special Publication 800-53. That's revision 5. I think it came out in 2022. So that's what we'll be using for our insider threat requirements for GRC tonight. That's what I use every night, though. So let's keep it moving. So let's read it. So there it is. An insider threat exists because organization grants trust and access to individuals. Like my Miss Smiley, she was stealing. Organizations rely on insiders to perform every function, from the most basic to the most sensitive functions of a business. Understanding insider threat requires organization to understand what constitutes an insider and how that insider status can result in a risk to your organization. The basic disposition of an insider threat may be similar to many organizations. A trusted insider who uses their access and knowledge to harm an organization, but the expression and manifestation of that threat may be vastly different depending on the nature of the organization, type of work, product and service performed, most importantly, the organizational assets that should be protected from loss, compromise, damage, or threat. So we talked about the DEI diversity leader. Let me look up her name real quick. Barbara Furlow Smiles, who stole $4 million from Facebook. That was the insider threat. What's up, Demond? That was the insider threat to Facebook, right? So Facebook needs to upgrade the insider threat, right? Or like anything, learn from your mistakes and keep getting better. But let's be realistic. $4 million in Facebook is a rounding error, right? That's pennies, right? So I think that's one reason she thought she could get away with it. Facebook prints money, right? So I think that's what's it. So let's get the definition. The definition of insider is any person who has or has an organization access to knowledge of the organization resources, including personnel, facilities, information, equipment, network systems. Definition of insider threat. An insider threat is a potential for an insider to use their authorized access or special understanding of an organization to harm that organization. This harm can include malicious, complacent, unintending acts that negatively affect integrity, confidentiality, and availability of organization. Of course, that's the CIA triad in cybersecurity. It's data, personnel, facilities, and associated resources, right? So you can see right there, there's four types of insiders. So there's the oblivious insider, the negligent insider, the malicious insider, and the professional insider, right? So let me make that, let's see, make that a little bigger. See if we can read that a little better. So let's talk once again about the DEI later. Malicious insider is insider that steals data intentionally or destroys company networks, such as employees that deletes company data on their last day. So I believe she was a malicious insider, right? Oblivious insider is an insider with important access to companies' information has been compromised from the outside. A negligent insider, an insider that usually uneducated on potential security threats or simply bypass protocols or meet workplace efficiency. A professional insiders making career off exploiting company network vulnerabilities and selling those to the dark web or nation states, right? So she was a malicious insider. She was making money off of it, right? Using corporate resources for the benefits of her and the negligence of the company, right? The neglect of the company. Once again, $4 million ain't nothing to Facebook. So I think a lot of people talk themselves into criminal crimes by minimalizing it, right? It's a minimal thing. So shout out to King, shout out to Leonard Yoda. Yuda, my bad. I mean, so those are once again the insider attacks we worrying about. The insider attacks we're gonna dig in, talking about the NIST 800-53, talking about building an insider threat program, right? So let's keep going on it. Once again, drop any questions or chats in the box, and we'll get to them. My bad. I keep peeking on my LinkedIn. I'm struggle streaming. Let's keep going. I got to work on that some more. So here's the expression of insider threat. Insider threat manifests itself in figure 4, graphic representation of violence, espionage, sabotage, threat, and intentional and under threat. Right. So inside we see it right there, the insider threat. Then we're going to dig in each one of these. You got cyber violence, espionage, sabotage, and threat. And then there you see intentional, unintentional, workplace, terrorism, economic, government criminal, sabotage. Right. So those are the 5 things an insider threat can do to your company. All right. So I would say on Facebook, right, it was probably, oh, there it is, strictly theft, strictly financial, right? So she didn't steal any intellectual properties of Facebook or Meta. She just strictly stole some credit card money, $4 million, stole some services, right? And so But once again, you as a big company, you should have your insider threat program. You should start identifying these possibilities. We gonna maybe touch on AWS has a fraud module inside it. They actually have credit card modules, so they look for stuff like when we looked in there. I guess we're gonna pick to it real quick. Is she took her company credit card and hooked it to Cash App. So on a credit card, it should have seen cash payments going to Cash App. That should have been a huge red flag, right? Bell should have come along, just start going off. Her credit card should have got cut off. That's that's I think that's some Facebook and Meta from their cybersecurity house is missing. Why is GRC so hard to get into? King, that is an excellent question. I believe is number one, I think the baby boomers in it, they a little old, so they want people to have degrees. I think a lot of times they want you to have a lot of experience. I think a lot of times people, especially since cybersecurity, if something goes wrong, you can hack, you can get fines, people can steal. We see it here. They can steal intellectual property, financial, cyber attack, violence, just depending on that, King. So when I first got into cybersecurity, there were no young people in cybersecurity. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I got two young guys in before I left the state of Indiana. I got two young guys on there. I think once again, gatekeepers, people want you to have a degree, and people think that if something goes wrong, you're gonna get hacked. And if you get hacked in cybersecurity, right, you lose a lot of stuff, King 3. But the crazy part about it is, and I'm gonna interview a couple of the guys I got on my team. He's super good. Once again, I think because you get hacked. And two, though, once we get young people, we show them what we're gonna do is. I was reviewing a lot of stuff before they were doing it, right? So I think that's the issue, King. So I think we need to just keep pushing. I think that's starting to change. I think the boomers are retiring a little bit, so I think it's starting to open up. What's up, RG in the house? Big Cam in the house. What's up? What's up? Let's see what King said. Yeah, they seem like they had no PCIDS control. That's for the answer. Oh no, you correct. And King, I'm gonna do a super low cost GRC. They're doing this 800-53. So I'm gonna see. I'm not see. I'm gonna get a course together. Get your skills up. We're actually gonna do assessments online. We're gonna do a fictional company. Let you do a risk assessment, a procurement assessment, insider threat assessment. So I think I'm gonna do a low cost YouTube course to help people get in there, King. Um, so I've been saying that for a year, but I've actually recorded 2 videos. So I'm hoping in February to release it. And once again, and inside it, and I'll talk about it after the end. So we're gonna keep rolling. Okay, we'll talk about it. But yeah, I'm working on it. So I'm teaming up with some people. But let's keep going on the insider threat. Shout out to King though, trying to ask you great questions, leading me into the course. Let's see TB checking around in the message section. She working with me. What type of safeguards can a company do to prevent this? How long did this go on? 3 or 4 months. For the safeguards for that. Which they should. I think the safeguard TB actually on LinkedIn asked that question. The safeguards, I think, and KG actually PCI credit card controls should be put on there, but those are more technical controls, encryption, separation of duties. For her though, and we'll talk about a little bit later too. TB, AWS has fraud detection. So when you charge a credit card, you send it to AWS fraud detection. They'll see if that credit card's on the dark web. They'll look at the limits of the credit card. It has machine learning in it. So what she's charging for stuff would be compared to what her other colleagues were charging, right? She was getting kickbacks up to 10,000. So that lets me believe some of her services she was charging was a deviation higher than normal. So what you would do is put in fraud detection. That could be LexisNexis has fraud. Once again, I will use AWS. Once again, I have AWS certs, and that's kind of what I've been studying. But for them, they give you the machine learning from what their credit cards have. We know they have $1 billion every year for Christmas. So for that question, that's what I would have done, TB, on that. Let's see if she has something else on here. Yes, I'm trying to get the tech. Move over. Boom, it's facts. So yeah, I'm getting my little low cost course for GRC, specifically where we're talking about NIST 800-53. I have 55 hours of playlists, and I'm gonna break those down and hopefully, not hopefully, but train you of what you would do on site. I've got a lot of people in my LinkedIn network who's gonna actually come in and help me, interview you, train you, make sure you understand, like you said, the safeguards and stuff. So, but that's what I would do for that TB on a Facebook. Shout out to my man Alpha Cyber. Glad joined. Definitely go out and join his channel. One of the first guys that interviewed me. I don't know if you remember, we did a 3-hour interview. That showed me I had a lot of work to do on my interview. And shout out to Alpha Cyber, though. He helped me get my interview game is, and I'm nowhere close to him. So definitely go subscribe to my man. He's doing some great things. Can't really think. Thanks for putting things together. I appreciate you sharing, Kay. Yeah, we're gonna definitely make that happen. But definitely go to my man Alpha Cyber in the chat. Go subscribe to him. Let me know if you got a wrench, Alpha Cyber. I give you one. I'm over here struggle streaming. Let's go through some more slides. So once again, on that circle, violence from an insider threat consists of any acts of violence, threats of violence, other threatening behavior that creates intimidating, hostile violence, insider violence, including criminal or destructive threats that precede physical attacks that damage infrastructure, right? So we got malware, wiper malware. We got malware that damage your disk. We got malware of people trying to erase stuff before they leave, right? So that's kind of the violence they're talking about from insider threat. Espionage is the practice of spying on foreign government organizations, entities, or persons covertly or illicitly. I mean, I can't even talk today. Obtain confidential information for military, political, strategic, or financial advantage. So a lot of people know me from my channel. I worked for 10 years at DOD. So I'm definitely familiar with the military. The other part of that is I've seen people escorted out. This one young guy was playing with some network sniffers on a DOD network. They just escorted him out. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So that actually is definitely part of that, right? So a lot of times when you're on a network, people are watching what you do. Security's actually logging what you're doing, monitoring your screen to see if anything's. And two, if you try to touch something you shouldn't touch, it'll go on the log, right? Then security team come up on their dashboard in red, like, why are you trying to get to something you're not supposed to be getting to, right? So all that stuff from an insider threat, those are the programs you need to be building up. Can't wait for the list. Thanks for putting together. Oh, no problem. My participate. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be on my membership, Natasha. It's gonna be a course. I'm gonna do about 10 hours of NIST 800-53. We're gonna get online every day for that membership and do a private call to go over any questions you have. Then we're gonna build on it. Everybody calls me professor. I know I got a couple of new subscribers. I taught 10 years at a community college, information security and forensics. So I'm definitely gonna build on that. So I'm gonna have freshmen, sophomore, junior, then hopefully senior with a capstone. Shout out to my man Alpha Cyber. I hope to definitely get him in. I want to do a red team, blue team. I hope to do stick hardening. He actually has an excellent API security on LinkedIn. Definitely go check that out. Let's steal up there. One of the best. Yeah, that was it. That was fire. So definitely go check out Alpha Cyber. So I'm definitely gonna reach out to him. So he definitely got that penetration red team skills. So I'm hoping to do red team versus blue team. So my students are gonna harden it, set up the policies and procedures, set up the assessments. I got some Cisco guys. I got some AWS guys. So when they set up the environment from a GRC perspective, We're going to make sure it's NIST 800-53 compliant. We're going to make sure all the checks are there. Then have the red team, Alpha Cyber team, see if we harden it correctly. Right? It all sounds good until you get tested in the wild, right? Them versus us, red versus blue. So, but nah, so that'll help get some red team people some skills. Shout out to my man Gabe, Struggle Security. He definitely got a red team. Shout out to Alpha Cyber. Gonna get in there. Don't forget the special. We got everybody, King 318. We got everybody. But so now that's what we're trying to do. Get everybody some skills. Get everybody in GRC. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you have the language. Once again, I'm reaching out to my contacts to see if I can get a pipeline to some of the bigger companies. I'm supposed to interview somebody from Cap Gemini. He's a recruiter. So I'm trying to see if I can get Cap Gemini to give us some GRC positions. Remote. PBO don't like to leave the house. He old and grumpy. Let's keep going. He old and grumpy. He don't like to leave the house. But let's keep going. So sabotage involved in deliberate action aimed at harming an organization physically or virtually infrastructure, including non-compliance with maintenance or IT procedures. So that's GRC's job to make sure we're in compliance. Contamination of clean spaces, physical damage of facilities, deleting code to prevent regular operations. Theft, that's what we saw our lady from Facebook that stole the $4 million. Theft includes multiple categories, two subcategories, most by insiders, including finance and intellectual property. She went for the money. She stole $4 million. I don't know why she thought she could get away with stealing $4 million. That's crazy. Even at Facebook, I mean, $4 million is a lot of money. Financial gain is an age-old motive made all the more appealing by digitized systems that lend themselves to theft of a vast quantity of customer data or intellectual property for use in a larger fraud scheme. So that was her in a larger fraud scheme, right? So let me look at LinkedIn and see if I'm missing anything. I'm struggling on LinkedIn, so shoot me a message. Let's see. Yes, I'm trying to get in tech. Yep, TB in the house. So let's see what we got going. Let's see. Boom, boom. My man liked it. Make sure I'm not missing anything else. Once again, I am struggle streaming over here on LinkedIn. I got to get some more LinkedIn skills. Okay, I am there. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Natasha Fire. This sounds like fun. I want to be on your purple team. Yeah, we definitely gonna have a purple team in there. So shout out to my other YouTube. My man put it in the chat to say I want to be. Yeah, that's fine. We definitely gonna have a purple team. The crazy thing is I actually programmed for 10 years. Professor Roger White. Shout out to the two professors. Yeah, definitely. We can definitely do a purple team because inside the AWS, we're actually gonna do a web app. So we know most of the purple team attacks come from web apps. So shout out to my man Alpha Cyber. He definitely has the APIs, and that's going to be part of that. We're definitely going to do validation, cross-site scripting, cross-site forgery. So Professor, we definitely going to have a purple team in there. Happy New Year, PBO. What type of reference can you share on creating a pen test range? What I'm going to do for you, Bit Native, is go see my man Alpha Cyber right here. He's going to help you. That's out of my league. I don't do a lot of pen test range, so reach out to my man Alpha Cyber. I think I've seen him talking about that range actually. Bit Native. Reference you share. I don't do a lot of pen testing. I do enough pen testing to test from a GRC perspective. I would reach out to my man. I'm sure he'll reach out to you. Reach out to Alpha Cyber and reach out to Struggle Security. Those are two guys on the red team that I recommend on there. I try to stay in my lane. Like I said, I do some light stuff. Shout out to once again Alpha Cyber. I did part of his API test because everybody's running an API on the backside of their web app. Shout out to the professor so we can get the purple team going on. So let's keep going. Caramel drip in the house. Let's keep going. Happy New Year. This is Professor Roger. Shout out to him. I will be a judge. I will like, okay, we can definitely make that work. I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn. We can definitely get something together. Like I said, I'm just starting, so I will my freshman course mostly a lecture, but as I build, I'm definitely gonna do Moodle, a learning management system. We're gonna set up Moodle so we can have tests and quizzes where we can build stuff and grade it. I'm actually have some grading rubrics out there, professor. So we can definitely collaborate on those. Once again, I taught for 10 years at a very large community college. So yeah, we can definitely get together. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna scale it up. I'm starting at low cost, but at the end, I want to have about 12 weeks in each of my four levels, a capstone at the end where we get teams together and have them go. But, that's my vision, Professor Roger Wright. But I could definitely reach out to you. So let's keep rolling on the cyber. Cyber is a range of expressions, including theft, espionage, violence, and sabotage, dealing with anything related with technology. Key points, we just going to slide through these. Insider threat is similar to many organizations, like we talked about, products, resources, personnel, facilities, information, equipment, network, and systems. The character and conduct of threat would manifest itself in various ways, from loss, compromise, damage, or theft. So when I was working at a very large company from security, we looked at, is a person starting to dress weird, act weird? Is he having something stressful that's making him change his normal behavior, right? Is he about to do something negative to the organization, right? Shout out to Christian Madison. Glad you can join me. So those are the insider threats you're looking for. Once again, and we're going to flip back over to it and just kind of peruse it again. That's what the lady from Facebook did. She stole $4 million, right? She would start buying luxury cars, luxury hair, luxury shoes. So sometimes is that a precursor to, I think it was an old Superman movie, and I think Richard Pryor was stealing stuff for a computer. He went one day, I think he was driving a Pinto. The next day, I think he pulled up in a Ferrari, right? So that would be a giveaway to somebody stealing stuff. Yeah, let me know, Alpha Cyber, if you think you can give me some input on that threat range. I thought I saw you talking about a threat range, but let me know, Alpha Cyber. Let's see. Let's keep rolling. Um, so this is the White House executive order. I was surprised he did that in 2011, right? I think that was Obama, if I remember correct, did an executive order for insider threat. So most times when you see something in this 800-53 or something that's percolating inside the NIST family, it came from an executive order, right? Or a lot of it came from executive order. So this is executive order. You said 135587, structural reform to improve security of classified network and the responsible sharing of safeguarding of classified information. The president, by Constitution of Law, United States. Let me take myself off the screen. Will put me on the side, make it a little smaller. In orders to ensure the responsible sharing classified national security information classified on computer networks, it's hereby ordered as followed. And that's where I took certain parts of the executive order. You see the 2.1, B, implementing an insider threat detection and prevention program consists with guidance and standards developed by the Insider Threat Task Force established in Section 6 of this order. And I just saw Section 2, advise the executive agent of safeguarding classified information network Insider Threat Task Force on the development of effective program to monitor compliance with established policies and standards needed to achieve classified information sharing. Right. So once again, those usually come from an executive order. Oh, let's see what I'm always creating lab ranges. let me know. I appreciate you. Bitnay, just reach out to my man Cyber. He give you some little bit on that. Like I said, salute. Shout out to my man Game Over. Let me put myself back in the corner. Glad everybody could join me. So once again, when you talk about NIST 100-53, 171, which is small companies doing business with the government, CMC, which is small business doing DoD security, a lot of that stuff comes from executive orders, right? So why do I bring that up? When you start talking to executives and CIOs, which I'm gonna have on my channel, which I'm gonna have in my membership, talking about how this comes down, right? Once again, so when I worked for the state of Indiana Department of Revenue, I'm gonna have the ex-CIO here. We go long back. I always laugh. I work at the pleasure of the CIO for the state of Indiana. She gets her charter from executive orders, right? It comes from the president down to CISA, Central Structure. Then it goes down to the IRS. Then it comes down to us, right? We're at the bottom. But once again, that's how the order flows down in the government, right? It comes down from the president or one of his big task force, being Department of Homeland Security, CISA. There's a 3 or 4 TSA, who's doing pipeline security from Kasey. So once again, that flows down. It gets down to us. Then we have to implement this because we're going to get audited by a federal agency. Once again, the IRS used to audit us on site every year, 3 years, and we used to have send assessments to the IRS every year. So that's what I want to train people in my membership to understand how it goes, how to do mitigating controls, blah blah, and get into GRC in that particular life. Let's see. Salute. I recently found out the Department of Commerce runs NIST. Mind blowing. I don't think I knew that, RG, to be honest. It's the Department of Commerce. There's so many departments. I thought it was Department of Homeland. I got to double check you, RG, but I believe you. There's so many government agencies. That's one good thing about NIST 800-53. It's used with all the government Fred. It's used by the state. So there's a lot of job opportunities out there for it. And you don't have to be super tech savvy, right? Because remember, that's always the management side, the policies and procedures, the setting up the insider threat program, the insider threat detection, right? You got to do all that oversight paperwork. Then the IT team actually implements the Splunk to log everything, running Nexus scans, signing up for signing up for Office 365. They got insider threat for certain IPs that hit your network. They know it's in the dark web and it's bad, right? So those are the things. So we're talking about more about the paperwork and how that works. So let's keep it going. Once again, talking about the insider threat. So once again, that's the publication we're talking about. Those are the 20 security families in NIST 800-53. We're going to touch 3 or 4 of these were insider threats in there. Our main one, though, is CA assessment, authorization, and monitoring. Right, we need to assess our organization to make sure we have the insider threat program set up and operating functionally. Right, that's what you would do as an IT auditor, assessor, or once again, internal audits. Let's see if there's any more questions recently. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to learning from your teams or class. I'm not sure what you were talking about. I'm gonna do a YouTube course inside YouTube. They have a membership in there. I'm gonna do videos to show you, like we're going through here, to show you how to tactically do an IT audit. Specifically, if we were looking at insider threat, specifically if we're looking at access control. Here's all the families, awareness training, making sure we got auditing set up. So you as an internal auditor, Carmel Drip, is we're going to go through all of these families and figure out how to audit them for a federal agency, right? My first course is not going to teach you how to audit. It's going to touch on these at a high level so you have an understanding of this. Then each level you're going to drill down. So let's see where RG. All facts. I believe you. Like you said, it's that rabbit hole goes deep. So let's keep going. So let's switch up real quick and we'll go back. So for the people just joining us, we're talking about, let's make sure they're showing up. Former Facebook diversity strategist pleaded guilty to stealing more than $4 million from the company. A former Facebook global diversity strategist stole $4 million from the social media giant to fund a lavish lifestyle in California and Georgia. Barbara Furlow Miles, who led various Facebook diversity and equity inclusion programs from 2017 to mid-2021, stole money through an elaborate scheme. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, is cooperating there. So we're talking about how do you catch insiders inside your company, insider threat like her stealing information from your company. So now we talked about the executive order. We talked about the different levels of insider threats. So now we about to dig into the NIST family so we can show how to set up a program to how to catch these people, right? So they won't be stealing companies' money. So let's see. So once again, these are the NIST 800-53 security families. CA is where the insider threat assessment is for your organization. So that's what we're rolling. So AC is access control. So you see it right there. Enforcement approved for authorization for logical access to information systems, resource according with applicable access control policies. So one thing I like about NIST, what a lot of people don't do, they usually have a good discussion part. Dual authorization, also known as two-person controls, reduce the risk related to insider threats. Dual authorization mechanism require the approval of two authorized individuals to execute. It reduces collusion. On organizations consider rotating dual authorization duties. Organizations consider the risk associated with implementing dual authorization mechanisms when immediate response are necessary to ensure public and environment safety. Right. So if you need something in a hurry, they're saying don't do it. But so and we can dig into it right now. So dual control from uh, Facebook Meta was when she charged her credit card, somebody else should have signed off on that actual particular payment she made, right? So that's dual. A lot of times when you sign stuff out, it rolls up to your supervisor. The problem is she wasn't the top of the DEI chain, but she was right underneath there. So the question is, should her purchases got approved by the top DEI person? Then if that dual authorization, she wouldn't be able to hopefully steal as much because she would have had to get her stuff approved. I think she was buying and approving her own stuff, and we're gonna look at it. I got the court documents. She was actually creating fake an expense report, but that fake expense report should have went up to the top DEI guy who should have looked at it and made sure it was good, or actually reached out a couple of people to make sure those services were legit. Right. So once again, from a NIST 800-53 perspective, there should have been some kind of dual control on what she was buying, because what she was buying wasn't, to ensure public safety or environmental safety. She was buying, just regular stuff on the credit card. So, but at a certain level, you got to have a level of trust to your people too. So that's the balance. Let's see, Keep 138. So what happens if you don't audit? So what happens if you do an audit past the org, but the next day your org gets breached? So we always talk about that. Um, I've never been breached, but it looked like we were breached, meaning somebody was on our network, they didn't get anything. And what you got to remember too is King 318. There's no network that's 100% secure. Really, what you're doing when you're doing an assessment or audit is you know what risk you're accepting and you're making your risks as small as possible. And we're going to talk about this, and I talked about this later, is from a legal standpoint, when you go to court, if you're negligent, meaning you done nothing and what you did was irrelevant, your fine is a lot bigger. If you said we did all of this stuff, we did all the tightening, and the nation states better than us, right? Your fine is going to be smaller. You probably come up with a zero fine. If Russia just came and got you, or one of the top Israel hacker teams got you, Bearcat, there's a ton of those out there. One of the top teams got you, you'll be fine, right? So once again, part of you doing an audit is to make sure you're not negligent. So when you go to court, because you always see these class action lawsuits now, right? You get credit monitoring. So if those class action lawsuits find that your organization negligent, the government's going to fine you. HIPAA, it could be $1,000 a record. So if you got 3 million records, that's $3 billion, right? So that's where they actually come into play, King 318. We definitely dig as auditor, I would be held accountable. I've actually asked that on a higher level. Just real quick, I actually have an umbrella policy, like you said. So, King, if I do something and I miss something, or I get somebody hacked theoretically, I asked an FBI agent. He said, which I liked, is my supervisor is responsible for me. The CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, is responsible for me. The CIO is even responsible for me, and the president's responsible for me. So all those people should be reviewing my work or sign off to me. So I'm at a individual contributor basis. So I don't think I could be personally sued for that, King 318, when I talk to an FBI agent about that, and I talked to some cyber insurance companies about that. I do have a $2 million umbrella policy just in case. I could hit a Bugatti, or I could get somebody hacked, King 318, just in case. But now the auditor, because two is, you're not going to do it by yourself, King. Usually when you come in, Booz Allen come in, they came in with 20 people. So usually you're not doing it by yourself. Shout out to Maddox, definitely one of the day ones. Better on this side, LinkedIn at mutes for no reason. Yeah, I got to figure out what's going on with that. I don't know if it's me or them, Maddox. I know some people be streaming on it, so I don't know if it's me or them. I appreciate you, Maddox. I'm still working the bugs out on that. I appreciate you coming on this side. I am seeing lots of GRC professionals taking roles in AI ethics, creating requirements for. Yeah, I think that's definitely. Shout out to TechRX. Definitely the guy I said, when you got AI questions, I'm sending you to him. But yeah, I definitely see that, and I'm definitely gonna do a video on that. They have some of the AI requirements from a auditor's perspective, what they're looking for. The problem with that is it's okay. I don't feel bad. I appreciate you. I thought it was me off the side. So yeah, TechRX. I think I'm gonna dig a little more in that to see from because NIST actually have an AI special publication. So I'm gonna see what they're looking at from a federal compliance standpoint. It's so relatively new. Most of our companies are like, don't put PII in it. So it's the app. I appreciate you. Yeah, they be pumping it up, and they like I got 1,000 people over there. That's the crazy part. Let's see what the next security family is for the Insider app. Least privilege. We were talking about that. Employ the principle of least privilege, allowing only authorized access for users or process for people. And let's see, the misuse of privileged functions, either intentionally or unintentionally, by authorized user, but unauthorized external entities, entities that has compromised your systems, right? So you only want to give people access or privilege to do their job and nothing more, right? So the question is, as a DEI, did she need to be charging stuff, or should that just went through procurement, right? So for me, I mean, I'm sure she had some smaller stuff she could be buying, but why is the DEI lady spending $18,000 without going through procurement, right? So procurement in large companies that's the organization that buys stuff. So if I want to get an extra license, or I want to buy an HP Superdome, which I wouldn't buy, right? I would request a line on it or a bigger box. But if we need a bigger stuff, that would go to procurement, right? So the question is from the DEI lady, why is her limit so high? She says she spent $18,000. So I don't know all the job responsibilities of a DEI lady, but I think that's a little more than you should have, 18,000. So me, and I'm really because I'm not say superstitious. I'm always careful. I don't buy anything. I tell people I don't want a company card, man. I want to call my boss and he spend a company card, right? Years ago, somebody tried to give me a card, like, that's an accident waiting to happen. Cause right. But for me, I think from a least privilege standpoint, her privileges on those cards were too big. Especially if you stealing $4 million over that, she must be, charging some big amounts per month. So what was her monthly spending on arrangement? What was her yearly and what was her daily? Right. So it seemed like stealing 4 million, she would have been hitting on that. Diversity, inclusion, making people make sure they hire diverse people. So that was kind of weird for her, for her spending that much money. So let's keep going. Data mining. Requires the establishment of an insider threat program for deterring, detecting, and mitigating insider threats, including safeguarding sensitive information from exploitation, compromise, or other unauthorized disclosure. Data mining protection requires organizations to identify appropriate techniques to prevent, detect unnecessary and unauthorized data mining. Data mining can be used by insider to collect organizational information for the purpose of exfiltration, right? Exfiltration, aka you stealing the data, right? Data mining. A lot of companies, well, I take that back. Probably half the companies do data mining, have data warehouses, have data. So what is that? You put your data in a place where you can run diagrams on the machine learning, so you can learn from your data, right? But if all your data is in one spot, you got a rogue employee, he could go through and steal all that data and actually steal it. If you look back on Facebook metadata, it was, oh God, it was the tip of my tongue. They stole like half the United States data from Meta. I think of it. They did it for political for political gain. Cambridge Analytica. If you Google Cambridge Analytica, Facebook was doing data mining. They got in as a rogue company and they stole all that data, right? So Facebook, yep, there it is. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Got it. So yeah, so you got to be, so if your company has data warehouse, data lakes is the new thing, right? New term. You got to make sure who has access to that, who controls it, and who can get into it, especially from your developers and testers data, right? I would like those to have test data in it, but everybody wants to put production data in test, which drives me crazy. That's a whole nother book. Facebook might need to hire PBL. They do. Facts, man. Facts. Was it a personnel cyber? I thought it was a. They stole, but they did steal all of that. They did. So yeah, so Facebook was trusting these companies. They were stealing all of that. I wish I'd got in there and stole some. Now I'm just bluff. But let's keep going. So that's why this insider threat program is needed. That's why NIST is pushing it. That's why you as a GRC person needs to understand, or even if you're not a GRC person, even if you're a red team person, if you need just a lot of different. I work with the Splunk people. I work with data warehouse and the data lake people because I got to review their security so we can make sure the people that needs to get into that data from the data mining only have what they need, right? Very few people should be able to go in there and query and just start running up numbers, right? I can have my man TechRX to go in there and give them a machine learning widget, right? So they can get the data they need, but there should not be a lot of people in that raw data being able to do whatever they want to do, right? Because then they can exfiltrate it and steal it. I never trusted facts. So that's where that comes. Oh, but they use it for politics. I knew some was in their politics, but yeah, Cambridge Analytica just stole it all. So once again, that's why you need GRC double checking those requirements to make sure. Once again, everybody's familiar with the awareness training, cybersecurity training. We call this awareness training. Now you need to have an insider threat module, right? Possible precursor for insider threat can include individual behaviors such as inordinate long-term job dissatisfactions, like we talked about, attempt to gain access to information not required for your job performance, unexplained access to financial resources, bullying or harassing fellow employees, workplace violence, other serious violations of policies, procedures, directives, regulations, rules, or practice. The other part in there that we mentioned is most companies don't have those policies, rules, regulations set up for people to violate, right? So you got to make sure from a GRC perspective, we have all that set up, right? So that's what I'm going to do in my uh, YouTube course on GRC, is going through those policies, procedures, directives, regulations. We just looked at an executive order. How do we take that executive order and create a policy? How do we take that policy and create a procedure? How do we take that procedure and do standard operating procedures that everybody in the company knows? Onboarding and offboarding, right? Or two common ones. Two is, how do we use ChatGPT? Because PBO don't write well. He used ChatGPT. Did we just move it out a little bit from ChatGPT, right? We want to start using our technology to the utmost, right? So those things we're going to be learning in PBO's membership, right? Low cost, low cost. So those are things we're going to be getting in there, right? So let's keep rolling. PBO running out of gas. Let's look at a couple more questions. What's my man Tex RX at? Securities need expected PI data, lots of screening, checks, balances, the data with the A. No, facts. No, that's 100%. So control assessment, that's what we talked about. In-depth monitoring, security instrumentation, automated security tests, vulnerability scanning, malicious user tests, insider threat assessment, performance load testing, data leakage, and data loss assessment. All right. So as you see, the big thing in there, we need an insider threat assessment. So what is that? We looking at people's credit card SOP for your job and your level and what you're doing. What is your daily amount? What is your monthly amount? To in your card, which we can look in there, you should never have your card going to a cash app, right? There should be a policy that we're not affording cash that way without going through procurement, right? So those are where you, as a IT auditor, as an IT assessor, would go through from a business side. I call this the business side of security, which is more fraud than anything, right? Now we're talking about fraud. That's really what she was stealing, and a lot of it was fraud and falsifying data. That's part of cybersecurity, right? This is the lesser part of cybersecurity, but that's part of cybersecurity. Shout out to Brother Michael, definitely one of the day ones with the salute in the house. So that's what you, as an IT auditor, right, as you do your assessment, we talk about hardening, once again, policies, procedures, standard operating, assessment, scans, the fraud part of that. I need some petty cash. 4 million ain't petty cash, RG. 4 million ain't petty cash. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Contingency planning. This one kind of threw me off. I was doing some contingency planning work and I saw in there, oh, wow, we need an insider threat implementation plan. I don't know if that's new. I've just never noticed that. In there, I usually do a disaster recovery plan, business continuity. I've done critical infrastructure plans, continuity of operation plan. I've even done crisis plans, data breach plans. I don't think I've ever done an insider threat implementation plan. So that's something I probably going to work on once again, share it with the membership part. Definitely going to do a segment on that. We probably on each level, probably not level one, the freshman, probably the level 2 sophomore. We're going to create all these plans, right? We're going to have ChatGPT create all these plans, and we're going to smooth them out for our fictitious company, right? One of them's going to be a state agency, and the other one's going to be a private business doing government work, right? So if you Arthur and Anderson, the big four accounting, they do government work, so they got to have all these plans because they doing work for DOD, IRS, blah, blah, blah. So they make billions of dollars. So once again, they have to have those plans because they doing federal work. Once again, I'm seeing if there's any more questions in the chat. Let me go peek on my LinkedIn. Once again, I feel better. Everybody said it's more LinkedIn than me. So let's see Yes, I'm trying to get in, see if anybody's leaving me any more messages. Once again, I'm struggle streaming. Okay, I got her question. Shout out Sophia, gave me a like. Let me get back in there. Now I got to see if I still want to keep doing on LinkedIn. I got to talk to Alpha Cyber. I got to see if the works with the. Is it worth the squeeze to be on LinkedIn? Alpha Cyber, you gonna stay on LinkedIn? You think? I know. I see you do a lot more on LinkedIn. You gonna keep doing streams on LinkedIn with all the issues with LinkedIn? Let's keep going on the NIST 800-53 for the insider plan. Incident response handling. So once again, if you're handling capability for incidents involving insider threats, discussion explicit focus on handling incidents involving insider threats, provide additional emphasis on this type of threat, and the need for specific incident handling capabilities to provide appropriate or timely responses. Intra-organization coordination, coordinated incident handling for insider threats that include the following organizational entities. Uh, Incident handling for insider threat requires, there you see it, business owners, system owners, human resources, procurement. I talked about personal risk, right? So um, when there's an incident, like let's kind of walk through what she did when she stole the 4 million. What organizations would be in there? I did one on DJ Envy, right? I think the FBI pulled up and asked for his work computer, his work laptop. I used to do it's called e-discovery. All your stuff on Teams, all your emails, we can wrap it up and send it out to law enforcement, right? So that's part of the handling they're talking about. So what agencies? So your HR, all right? We fired a person legally. What data do we have to hand over, and what data should we not? Right? If we hand over too much data, the employee could sue us for for uh, uh, helping the police, right? Violating their least privilege caused by giving them data that the law enforcement shouldn't have, right? So you gotta have legal on there. Once again, you're gonna need IT because I'm gonna do e-discovery. I'm trying to get all his emails, his teams. I'm sorry, her teams, what she was working on. Two is if she uploading anything. Two is remotely downloading her disk so she can't delete it, deleting her information off her laptop or her phone. It's called MDM. Um, you can actually put containers on somebody's phone and laptop that we control, especially if it's a organizational laptop. We can just lock them out and download the disk remotely to make sure they can't damage the disk, get that data. That's where you talk about intra-organization coordination, right? Incident handling. And once a year, we do that in there. We got to do an incident response test to say if this happens, what is the coordination between all our divisions in our organization? We have to practice. It's not going to it's not going to happen by magic. You as a GRC person should be able to lead those type of exercises. I lead one probably every year, every other year, forever, right? So what does that mean? We say, okay, if she stole using her credit cards, how do we get the information from a credit card? How do we get the information from a phone? How do we get the information from a laptop? Legally, what can we do, right? A lot of states have protections from employees. We got to make sure legally we're doing the right thing, right? So we don't get sued, right? The employee can sue us, right? So if we overstep, right? So there's a balance. So you always got to get legal on the phone. Shout out to legal. I'm gonna have a couple lawyers once again come and talk. I work with lawyers a lot. Well, I used to work with lawyers a lot. So talk about that. The insider threat program, this is the actual program. Implement an insider threat program that includes cross-discipline insider threat incident handling. We just saw what that was. That executive order, that's what we just I'm sorry, you saw on the screen inside PowerPoint. That's what we're going to use to create our policy. And once again, you got the same standards and guidelines for insider threat, classified, government. A lot of those same procedures are going to be done if it's insider threat. If it's a nation state, if we get hacked, right? A lot of those divisions and how we handle is going to be the same, even if it's internal or external, right? So So once you get those good practices in, building on top of it makes it a lot easier. Let's see what's over here. I need to add 4 million. I'll start watching on LinkedIn. I don't know. I got to figure out what's going on with the app. I plan on having a conversation with them about it. I appreciate it. I'll chime in too because they pump it up a lot, and it's a $1 billion org. You would think that would work better. We have to reach out to other professionals on LinkedIn. Facts. We definitely do that. Definitely do that, man. It's a good idea. Let's keep going. System monitoring. When you see organizationally defined or personnel or roles, NIST is kind of this is the framework. The IRS has specific things the IRS wants you to do that might be a little different than the Department of Homeland Security. That might be a little different for health and hospitals for hospital organizations. So when you see organizationally defined, they saying this is the minimum requirement. But if your organization, once again, I do a lot of IRS work, wants to do something higher, they can. Right. So discussion alerts may be generated from a variety of sources, including audit records or input from malicious code protection mechanisms, intrusion detection, prevention mechanisms, or boundary protection devices such as firewall, gateways, or routers. Right. So if you have an insider trying to get to accounting systems, they shouldn't be. They're just, trying to log in because they got a login. They know they shouldn't be in an accounting system, right? They know they shouldn't be in a credit card system, right? Or if your credit card has Cash App on it, right? You should have alerts that's showing up on dashboards for the accounting department, HR, security, right? So we're going to talk about what dashboards are created for what organizations and what emails go out. And sometimes the president, I've had presidents of organization comes up and says, we want this to go to the president of the org, right? So each organization is different, but there should be base dashboards you have that if somebody tries to log on 10 times in 15 seconds, that's mostly a automated brute force attack. That should go to the security team. And automation, we should grab that IP and just block it at the network, right? Because we know that's an automated attack. If somebody's typing that fast, they could call a help desk and get their IP unblocked. But if we're because most people are going to attack at midnight. So if we get a brute force attack, we can just block the IP at the top of the network. Then that IP won't get it. But we know they're spoofing. They're just going to rotate IPs, right? So we'll stop the kiddies or the mid-level guys, but the top guys, they rotating IPs, right? So, but once again, that's automation. That's security generating alerts and alarms. Shout out to NC Workers. Shout out to Before the Billions. Go definitely check them out. Go check out Alpha Cyber, Tech RX, Before the Billions. Here, I'm going to go ahead and drop it if anybody wants to come up. B2B, I don't know if you just not getting it. We're talking about the lady that stole $4 million from Facebook, the DEI lady. Shout out to Pocket Watch It with Tag T. I saw that. I was like, oh, yeah, let me talk about it from a cybersecurity perspective. So, but once again, you definitely want to get your dashboards. You definitely want to get generated. And that's what, once we get rolling into the membership, we're going to do some AWS dashboards. And I'm reaching out to one of my Splunk contacts. I'm trying to see if I can get some free Splunk licenses for training. See if I can get some free Splunk license for training. Splunk's the 800-pound gorilla. Those guys get paid. My only issue with Splunk is it's so expensive. Only Fortune 500 companies or very large companies have it. So that's only my issue with Splunk. Once again, CloudWatch inside AWS is what I use for my AWS. I think it's only in there for 60 days. Then I might go to Elk Stack or they have another stack inside AWS. Open Search, I believe you can put logging stuff into. So we do dashboards for or different things. That's the tech part of cybersecurity, right? You don't need to understand it all, but you at least know what's available out there so you can at least delegate it. Once again, we just talked about that system automated organization generated alerts. Once again, you see it. I put it in red. Focus on other entities such as suspicious activity reports, reports on potential insider threats. So we would have to lay out what those insider threat metrics are, right? This is your job role. If you go outside your job role to other systems, right, that you shouldn't go through, that should generate a report. If you're charging stuff on Cash App, that should go on a report, right? If you're trying to think, if you're running a sniffer on a DoD network, that's going to run on a report, and that's going to get your ass escorted out the building. I've seen that in real life, right? So those are the automated organization generated reports. So once again, USGRC, you got to lay out what are those requirements for the team to build, right? Some of them they're going to have out the box, but there's some of the IRS wants to see. They're big on logging on and log off. Once again, too many log on tries in 30 seconds. Once again, if it's 100 or something crazy, that's a brute force. That should generate an alert. And once again, hopefully you grab that IP and block it. So that's where your generated alerts and your SOAR, right? Your security orchestration comes in, right? Now that's automated. So we're just going to touch on at a super high level what would go into a threat mitigation program, right? So that's when you get at the top of the pyramid. That's when you're working with the compliance director. That's when you're working with the CISO, right? That's when you're working with the CIO sometimes. An effective insider threat mitigation program identifies and focuses on those critical assets, data, and services. So I did a video. It's called Business Impact Analysis. You got to go through your businesses, your services, your functions, and what you provide internally and externally. You got to figure out and rank them. What's critical to your organization? What's critical data? What's critical services? I worked once again for the State Department of Revenue. If we don't return your state taxes in 4 days, we have to pay interest on that, right? So that came out as a critical asset that we needed to monitor because we didn't want to pay that. And the governor had like 12 special projects. So his special projects made certain services have critical data, but you have to sit down with executives and figure out what that is for your organization. And I was amazed how many organizations really don't know that, right? They know this makes money. They know what this is, but what is your top 30 things you need to do as a business? All right. A lot of companies don't know that. Monitors behavior to detect and identify trusted insiders who breach the organizational trust. Assess threats to determine the individual level of risk of identify persons of concerns. So part of that too is when you do privilege accounts, the opposite of privilege accounts is those are your most risky employees, even though you trust them the most, right? Your essay has root on a box, basically meaning they can do anything on that box, right? That's a privilege account, right? But that's your most trusted insider who can cause the most damage, right? So how do you keep track of him and let him do his work? Right? But you need to identify those people, right? Too, is so you can secure their privileges, meaning their privileges not easily hacked or taken over, right? You're gonna do MFA, you might do a YubiKey, you might do a MFA. A lot of laptops have fingerprint readers on them, right? So you want to make sure who's ever doing that work is that person, right? Once again, assessing that threat, that's kind of what we're doing is your essays are a big threat. Your DBAs are a big threat. Those type of individuals. Your cloud engineers are big threats. Shout out to your data engineers with B2B is a big threat, right? Because he gets to see all the raw data. He can pack it in and take it in a big USB drive. I know that ain't, before the billions ain't that type of guy, but that is a large risk to our organization. Manage the entire range of insider threats, including implement strategies focused on persons of concern, potential victims, and or parts of the organization vulnerable or targeted to insider threats. Engage individual insiders who are potential on the path to a hostile, negligent, or damaging act to deter, detect, or mitigate that response. Right. So once again, if somebody's having a bad day, somebody acting a little different, how do you kind of figure that out as an organization, right? To keep track on it. I appreciate you, Portfolio. Oh, Happy New Year to you too. So that's it, and we probably do a video on that. How would you create a threat mitigation program? Because we saw it's an executive order by the president saying we need one, right? So what would that look like? Guidelines: designate a senior officer, form an insider threat working group, establish governance and publish an insider threat policy, implement a formal training awareness program. We looked at all that inside the NIST. Create an insider threat program officer. I think that probably would go under the compliance officer, to be honest, but you can create it. These are the different parts of that mission plan for those sectors that you would use to create an actual insider threat program. See plan one: secure and executive engagement, determine the best fit, organize and equip, interrogate information, analyze and response, develop an incident response, establish reporting pathways, train and execute, sell the program to the employees, encourage a culture of reporting, evaluate and improve, conduct exercises, maintain a program, and provide oversight and compliance. Right, so that's what you would do to actually create an insider threat program. All right, and once again, that's part of your NIST 800-53 and what you need to do to create that program. So once again, let's look at the insider threat that kind of kicked this off. Was former Facebook diversity strategist plead guilty to stealing more than $4 million from the company. That's our insider threat. She looks all nice and she stole $4 million, right? So that's part of the issue, right? So that's all I have. I wanted to touch on that. Let me check on my LinkedIn because I'm over there stream. I don't feel bad. It seems like everybody's having problems on LinkedIn, which is crazy. You would think that would work a little better. But let me get over here. Once again, I'm gonna hang out a little longer. I dropped the link if anybody wants to come up. I can't even get it to come up. LinkedIn. It's like, I might have to get out my LinkedIn people to come over to my Facebook people. I know your boy Joe Ozier be doing that in the morning. He be having like 100 people over there. So I might reach out to him to see if he's doing something different. Once again, so there's your nice insider threat. You as a cybersecurity person, as a GRC, needs to have an insider threat program, needs to have an insider threat focus, needs to understand that from a GRC perspective, right? You can, she's about to go to court. She's on $5,000 bail. RG, her court. I got the actual court documents up. Let's look at the actual court documents and see if we can see. Here's the actual court documents. Shout out to JT Pocket Watching. I was looking at his. So continue through 2021. I think she's about to go on trial. I think she was out there. There's her talking about using PayPal. That was the thing we should have found. Let's see who came up. Get over there. Oops, struggle streaming today. Natasha, how are you doing? Oh, she dropped down. Where you go, Natasha? Come back. I couldn't hear you though. Sometimes you got to switch your input and output on those. Sometimes. There's the corporate paperwork. I think she's about to go on trial, RG. I think that's like 5 years to go on trial. So I don't think she's on trial yet, but didn't wire fraud 2020. No, I think she's about to go on trial 2021. I'm trying to see if I can see. This was filed 12/11, so I think she's about to go on trial. See, for example, defendant caused Facebook to pay nearly $10,000 to an artist. That means her credit card wasn't quite getting monitored correctly, and more than 18,000 to a preschool for tuition. That should have came up as, hey, that don't look right, right? Preschool coming up. So she was doing kickbacks, or she is done. She's done that. Yep, she was did. She did kickbacks. She did a variety of things. She used the credit card for personal use, and she was using kickbacks. So she would overpay people that she knew, and they would tell her to give her 10 grand back. But once again, your credit card should have a upper and lower limit for certain things you buy. So that should be in your machine learning in your credit card, or your credit card monitoring in your dashboard. If you buy certain things, once again, if it's 2 times more than what everybody bought in that same state, that should come out as an issue. Let me drink a little quick water. Be right back. Once again, I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up. If you have any other questions, just let me know. I don't feel so bad. Other people are struggling on LinkedIn. I thought it was just me. I was like, what's going on with my LinkedIn? But shout out to some people that are watching it. Transition to USF. Okay, he's got some cool. Again, let me get back, see if anybody's coming up. I appreciate that, Maddox. I'll probably submit one too. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I can't even get on it now. It's like you said, it's like hung. I can't even bring it up now. You would think somebody else would have, because a lot of people seem to go live on it. So you think they would have actually brought that up, Maddox, but who knows? Want to wish everybody a happy new year. Hopefully we get in 2024. 2023 was hard on me, so 2024 is looking a little better for me. Yeah, I think she gonna get I think she pled guilty already too, RG. If I remember right, I think once again pocket watch it with JT. I'm pretty sure. I think he said that on there. Let me look. I think she pled guilty. Yep, she pled guilty to wire fraud. It doesn't say when she's sentenced, but yeah, RG, she pled guilty to wire fraud and embezzlement. So she going to jail without no bail. It's classic. So let's. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm struggling. Yeah, that's it. Yep, there it is. Former global diversity at Facebook pleaded guilty to wire fraud after stealing more than $4 million to fund her lavish lifestyle in Cali and Georgia. She probably was rolling around with B2B out there, man, living that lavish lifestyle. You know, she rolling out there with a B2B out in Georgia, living that lavish lifestyle. Well, I'm about out. Everybody have a nice week. I'm appreciate everybody joining me. Check me out. I'm going live more. Like I said, doing more in this stuff. Gonna start doing some more AWS stuff. If you want something, just shoot me an email. ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. If you want me do a video on something special, nine times out of 10, I'll do it. So just gives me more content. Once again, I'm out. Everybody have a great week. Let's have a great 2024. I'm out.